Thank you. I'd like to start with a story about my mother. My mother was a Jewish mother. And as a Jewish mother, she wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, or as she used to say, be something. I wanted to be a cartoonist. Oy vey. A cartoonist was not on her list. I was 6 or 7 and my mother was the critique of my drawings. I'm not sure about the colors, the composition is so-so. You can imagine the picture. At the same time, every drawing of my friends made it to the refrigerator door. You know, the fridge, the museum of kids. Fast forward, 1989. I'm living in New York City. The dream of every cartoonist in the world is a cartoon in the New Yorker magazine. That was my dream too. And Paul Peter Porges was my teacher at School of Visual Arts. He was also a cartoonist for Mad Magazine and the New Yorker. There are so many magazines and newspapers. Why do you insist on the New Yorker? Paul asked me. There is no way to get in. Only the top cartoonists are there. No chance. But if you insist, you should know that on every Wednesday, you can leave an envelope with drawings at the reception desk at the New Yorker and have it back on Friday. I didn't need to hear more than that. I was drawing all day and all night. And on Wednesday, I walked all the way from downtown to the New Yorker. I went up to the 22nd floor. The receptionist gave me the look. I have seen thousands like you kind of look. Funny, I gave him the same look. And I have seen thousands like you. He took the envelope and pushed it, stuck it in a huge box full of envelopes. On Thursday, I hardly slept. On Friday, I rushed, full of excitement, all the way to the New Yorker. My envelope was waiting for me. All the drawings were in it. And in the same order. But there was a yellow note from the New Yorker attached with a no. It was an American-style apology explaining my drawings didn't fit. On Monday, I showed the note to Paul. I told you so. Paul told me so. But the New Yorker was my dream. I took my sketchbook and walked all over the city, drawing more and more and more sketches. Here is one. Fast food. On Wednesday, one envelope, 20 sketches, and one me went all the way to the New Yorker. On Friday, another no yellow note was waiting for me. Wednesdays, Fridays, more Wednesdays, Fridays. I had already a relationship with the receptionist, as in the most known novel by Bashevis Singer, Enemies, a Love Story. I loved the receptionist. He hated me. But then, one Friday, there was a surprise. It was the same no yellow note, but there was a scribble on it. I couldn't read it. It was illegible. That was the moment it hit me. My mother was right. If I had been a doctor, I could have read it. Thank you. I asked the receptionist, but he couldn't read it either. On Monday, Paul was so happy. That scribble, he said, means someone is telling you, you are on the right track. It reads, sorry. Scribble? Are you kidding? It was a masterpiece. Wednesdays, Fridays, more drawings. Here is another one. and more scribbles. Here is another one. Keep trying. See, I could read it now. Now that you know my mother, my real cartoon editor, do you really believe there is a cartoon editor in the world that could break me? No way. Sure, I kept trying. Wednesdays and Fridays and drawings. Here is another one. And then one Friday, one drawing was missing. The scribble said, holding one. What did it mean? Paul knew the answer. It means the cartoon editor is keeping one of your drawings for the editorial meeting. Keeping or not keeping, my excitement was kept for exactly 1 week. The next Friday, I got my envelope back with 21 sketches. 20 plus 1. Wednesdays, Fridays and Wednesdays. More notes, here is even holding 2. After 1 year, 1,000 sketches. I had to go back to Jerusalem, to present my final project at Bezalel Art and Design Academy. I chose the best 10 sketches as my final and graduation project. And next, I started my career in advertising. Fast forward, 1993. Commercial TV was starting in Israel, and I was sent by my agency to New York for 2 weeks. I opened my winter closet searching for my gloves and my scarf, and there it was, the envelope with the 10 final drawings. My dream was alive again. I have nothing to lose, I told myself. I took the envelope, put it in my suitcase, and flew to New York. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday at noon, you already know, I walked all the way to the New Yorker, straight to the top floor. The receptionist was a new one, but he gave me the same old look. The next day, when I came back to my hotel room, a voice message was waiting for me. It was the sweetest voice I ever heard. Hi, this is Anne from the New Yorker. Could you please drop by our office tomorrow? We would like to discuss some of your drawings. Oh. The next day, I met the receptionist again. But for the very first time, I walked through the castle gates. I met Françoise Mouly from the New Yorker. All my drawings were leaning against the wall. And she said, we would like to buy that one. And here is my first full color page published in the New Yorker, 1995. And we would like, thank you. And we would like to buy that one. And it is the second full color page published in the New Yorker, 1995. When I went out of the meeting from New York, I called my mother in Israel. Mom, I have a surprise. Is she Jewish? What's her name? Are you getting married? That was the answer. But this is not a story about drawings. This is a story about one word, full of inspiration. No. No, it's not fun to get a no. No pleasure, really. But CEOs, entrepreneurs, creative people, we all get so many kinds of no's in life. In the beginning, I thought every no was the end of the world. A no with an exclamation point, a big one, like this one. I might have given up my dream. A big mistake. But the reality is different, because no is part of life. Usually, no comes with a comma. No, comma. Remember, my first no was just a yellow note, a standard one. But then the next one was more personal. It was no, comma, sorry. And then no, comma, keep trying, and no, comma, holding one, no, comma, holding two. As in life, no, comma, we don't have the budget. Or no, comma, we don't have the time. Or no, comma, can we see another option? No, comma, no, comma, no, comma. And the most important thing is to explore, to understand, to discover which kind of a no comma we are dealing with. Because there are so many types of no commas. There is the dramatic no comma, which drives us to work even harder. But then there is the inspirational no comma, which makes us rethink. And of course, there is the challenging no comma, which leads us to change for a different vertical. Every no comma has a great power. Every no comma is a treasure. For me, every no comma is a great opportunity to search for the next yes. And speaking of a yes, there is one yes on that board among all those no's. Can you find it? Oh, Mazel Tov, you have found the yes. See, every no comma is actually a no with a question mark. No? Really? Really? Since then, I have a relationship with no commas. I hug it, I embrace it, because resistance is good. Resistance in innovation, resistance in art, in medicine, in high-tech is great. See, for me, no comma is a sign, a green sign, not a red one. No comma is the beginning of a yes. Back to the drawings from that envelope. Although those drawings are 20 years old, some of them are still relevant. This one, for example, or that one. And by the way, I'm still climbing the mountain. Or that one. And the snowman. And the puzzle. But there was another drawing. Here is the last drawing from 1989. At that time, when I lived in New York, I remember coming out of the subway. There they were, the Twin Towers. They were astonishing. I was moved. And my idea was to draw them from a different angle. Let's say from above. Let's say 100 floors from above. I thought it was an original idea, a naive look from the rear window. On 9/11, 2001, that drawing took on a different meaning. It became a scary look from the rear window. It bothered me a lot, but I didn't know what to do. Fast forward, 2011, 10 years later, I am deep in my career in advertising. But that drawing, even 10 years after 9/11, still bothers me. I thought it's about time to do something, so I sent the drawing again to the New Yorker by email. No answer at all. But I couldn't find rest for my soul. So I decided to change for a different vertical. Remember the challenging no comma, which leads us to change for a different vertical? Out of that drawing, I created a 30-second animation clip with the title, 9/11, It's Been 10 Years. On the last frame, I put my name and the flag of Israel. Let's see. Next, I called my friend Uri Shenar from Aniboom. It's a virtual animation studio, and together we invited more animation artists from all around the world to create more animation clips on the theme 9/11, it's been 10 years. After 3 months, we had animation clips from 20 countries. Next, we tried to find a real-life venue to present the project. I'm not going to share with you how many no's we got from all over, from TV channels, from galleries, from museums, dozens of no's. No answer even from the 9/11 Memorial Museum, twice. But you should know it was just a no with a comma. Finally, in February 2012, I was invited by the 9/11 Memorial Museum to present the project in front of the curators. But I didn't do a presentation. I told them a story. The story about that drawing you have just heard. 9 months later, on 9/11, 2012, on the very same day, how symbolic is that? I got an email from the 9/11 Memorial Museum with a 5-year contract for showing all the animation project as part of the Memorial Museum opening next year at Ground Zero. That drawing found its final destination after 23 years. No, 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 but there is a yes in the end. We need to have patience. We are all students at the Faculty of Patience. And at that faculty, there is always another semester. But this is not a story about drawings. You already know that. This is a story about a relationship with now. So what is your relationship with now? Coming back to that drawing, my mother died 7 years ago. But I believe that drawing would have made it on her fridge. Thank you so much. Thank you.